welcome back to my channel again for another video. Today I'm going to be doing an exam advice sort of related video. I did one last year on revision tips and advice, so I'll be sure to leave a little link down below in the description to that one if you do want to go over and check that out. But this year I thought, as it is approaching exam season now, and I know a lot of people are heavily revising right now, whether that's for GCSEs, A-levels, IB, whatever exams you might be taking, I thought that I would do a little advice video on actually dealing with the exam day itself and how to achieve the best that you can in the exam. So my first tip, this kind of seems like an obvious one, but arrive in plenty of time. The amount of times that people will turn up not exactly late to the exam, but with not that much time to spare, it's a lot more stressful because your journey there, you're only going to be panicking about if you're going to make it on time or not, and then also when you get there, you arrive already stressed out, and that's not how you want to enter the exam room. You don't want to be feeling stressed already because you're about to go in, do an exam that you spent weeks or even months preparing for, and to arrive feeling stressed is only going to make you panic during the exam. You already start off in a panic state. I've had that before. I've been panicked at the beginning of an exam, and then it just really doesn't go well throughout the rest of the exam time because the whole time you're a bit on edge and your mind's a bit all over the place and you don't think as straight and as clearly as you normally would. So definitely allow plenty of time. However, I find there is a fine line between too much time and the optimum kind of amount. I would say aim to get there at least a good half an hour or so before the exam starts, but don't aim to get there hours beforehand because that way there might be other people around or there might not be and you'll just be sat thinking about the exam, overthinking things. It's better to distract yourself and be elsewhere from the exam area, because if not, I find that once you're actually at the exam area, that's when the nerves start to kick in a little bit more. So spend a few hours before the exam away from the exam room area, but then arrive with a good half an hour, 45 minutes, so that you arrive nice and calmly and then you've got plenty of time to get there before your actual exam starts. I often find that before exams you'll get everyone discussing last minute things in a bit of a panic, wanting to make sure that you've learned everything, know everything you should. But I find that at least a good 5-10 minutes before the exam, it's better to just kind of sit by yourself, or if you are with someone, talk about something else besides the exam and exam content. Because if not, in those 5-10 minutes, you're really not going to learn anything new. Someone might remind you of something. It does happen occasionally, but there's no point just discussing loads of random facts and bombarding yourself with them, because sometimes the way that another person might explain it might actually confuse you, or if they mention something that you're not so sure of, then again it's going to panic you before the exam and you're going to go into that exam feeling stressed and panicked. And like I said before, when you go in like that, you're not going to do your best and your head's not going to be in the right mindset. So it's better just to either sit by yourself or sit with someone and focus on something completely different. And that way you'll go in feeling a lot more relaxed, and it will really help you to fully focus on the exam once you're in there. My third tip, again, may seem like a kind of obvious one, but I don't feel that everyone uses this, and I think it is such a great method for tackling the exam itself. If you're doing an exam which always has a very set format and has distinct sections, I'm sure with revision and everything you would have been doing a lot of past papers and got to know how long roughly you need on each section to complete it properly. So I find that if you go into the exam knowing roughly how long you need on each section, and you've divided up your time, and you've taken the exam length time, divided it between the sections, and you go in there knowing how long you want to spend on each section, it will really help you to properly get through the exam, because then you'll know if you're spending too much time on the first section, for example, then even if you feel like you've still got stuff to add, it's better just to move on, because there's no point wasting all your time on the first section, adding in a couple of extra things which might get you 1 or 2 marks extra, but then having to completely rush the last section and then dropping another 5, 6 or maybe even like 10 marks because you don't have time to finish it properly, or you don't have time to think about it properly before writing, and you just have to get straight in there writing down whatever first comes into your mind, and you don't plan it properly. So definitely time out your sections and time out how long you should spend on each section before the exam, and just have that really clearly marked in your head so that you know if you've got extra time to spend on a section or if you're falling behind a bit. And then you can always come back at the end if you've got some spare time just to add in those couple of extra pointers. I always think it's definitely so important to take water into the exam with you, because often when you're stressed or nervous, I feel like that's when you can get sort of a bit flustered or a bit heated, and just having that water there helps to calm you down. It keeps you hydrated. Also, just to keep thinking, you need to stay hydrated. So it's so important that you do just take water in with you, as it will help with your thinking process. And if you do get a moment where you feel a bit tense or extra stressed or nervous, then just take a moment, have a sip of water, and it can really help to calm you down. My final tip is to check your exam multiple times at the end. I know this is something that's reinforced a lot by teachers and people at school, but honestly it's so important. Something that you don't see the first time through checking, because often your own mistakes you just skip over easily, you may see by the second or third time that you're checking. Use whatever time you have left at the end to keep going through it, keep checking over it, and making sure, first of all, what I used to do was firstly go through the whole paper, just quickly flip through, making sure that I've answered all of the questions so that I don't discover one as I've got a minute or so left and I'm in the checking process to find out that I've now only got a minute to answer this question. Make sure you've answered all the questions, and then go right back to the start of the paper, thoroughly checking through each of the questions. And if it's a multiple choice paper, on the ones where you know that it's something that's definitely wrong and you've ticked the wrong box, or you've accidentally ticked the wrong box or something, then do change it. But with multiple choice and checking, there is a little bit of a danger, especially for those questions where you're debating between two different potential answers. As I know I've done this so many times before, where you sort of sit there, you're looking at it, you're looking at your first answer that you've put down, then you're not sure and you end up changing it only to find out that your first answer was right. On those kind of questions, trust your initial instinct, because it's more often right than not. And trust me, it's so much more frustrating if you originally put the right answer and then changed it than if you put the wrong answer, debated changing it, and the one that you were debating changing it to was right, but at least you went with your first initial instinct. And that, I think, even though that's still going to be annoying, that's less annoying than having had the right answer and then you've been looking at it for too long and changed it. So with multiple choice ones, check them for sure to make sure you have put in the answers that you were wanting to put in. But then on the ones where you're debating between answers, definitely trust your initial instinct. It will save you a lot. It really does affect you answering the questions, so do go along with what you've put. Those were all of my tips and advice on how you can approach the exam day itself, how to tackle the exam once you're in there, and I hope you found this useful to some extent. Please let me know if you did find this useful at all down below in the comments. Also, let me know if you are currently revising or about to start exams. Let me know which exams you're doing, and good luck to all of you who are approaching exam season. I've been there, done it all, and I can tell you it's not a fun time at all, but you will eventually get through it, and doing that last exam is definitely the most rewarding feeling ever. So I hope you all manage to do as well as you're hoping and get the results that you're wanting to, and I'll be sure to see you on Sunday with a brand new video. Bye!